All right, so I believe we are live. We are live right now. We had some technical issues earlier. My goodness, get we couldn't get it right. I was just having a wonderful time with GoDaddy and getting all the hosting all set up, but I think we have got it. Yes, we are live. We are certainly live. All right, so welcome everybody to Rocket Rick Marketing. I am Ricky Burrows, and this has been quite a journey here. And I see that we do have the chat lined up. That was definitely part of the issues, one of the issues I was trying to work out. But I was like, okay, whatever. We're gonna go with the flow. We're gonna keep going with it. All right. So you're here, I'm here, and I have a story to share with you. First of all, I am so glad that you are here right now. I have been through all the struggles that you have been through. I know exactly what you are feeling right now about, you know, um, where do you get started and how do you get from like point A to point B? Actually, more like how do you go from not knowing what to do to get your first commission? And I know that in the past, that's all I really cared about. I didn't care at all about making $10,000 a month. I didn't want to make any excessive amount of money. All I wanted was to see how to make my first commission and then watch my very first check come in the mail. And I was able to accomplish that and much more than that. So so who am I and where did I get started with all this? My name again is Ricky Burrows and I live in Westport, Massachusetts. Now, for some of you who live in other countries, and I know that you're watching this right now, that is on the northeast side of the United States. And that is a very cold place. It is a place you do not want to live in. The weather changes very, very quickly. It will be sunny 55 one day in February, and then it will snow 2 feet the next day, and then it will melt all the next day, and then it'll be super nice again, and then it will snow again, and it'll freeze. The weather is just that's just how it is over here. But but it has shaped me and it has molded me into the person that I am to this day. Things just happen. Things happen in life. They just come at you, and it's just unexpected. And sometimes you just know change is going to happen. So how did I begin my journey in network marketing, and how did I get started in all this? The way it all worked out was I was going way back. I was in a dead end job, and I did not want to work there anymore. I know as far as I could possibly go in this job, all I ever wanted was to just make enough money, please my wife, eat the food that I wanted to eat, and okay, so cool. So everybody, so I'm seeing some comments here that everything looks really good, everything's working pretty good. And yes, Maria, you are the first one to comment on this. That is so awesome. Awesome. I'm very, very glad that everything's working. That's cool. All right, going back to my job, I was in a dead end job. I was working in a warehouse, and the company was just going in a direction that I really didn't agree with. It was constantly trying to get people in trouble. I mean, I can remember giving out, I was soliciting information to people um, about by nature I'm a Christian, so like I was soliciting information about the gospel. I was giving somebody who was depressed, I was giving them information I thought was going to help them. I thought it was going to lift them up. I thought it was going to make them feel much better and give them hope. Well, my supervisor saw that, he didn't like that, and he wrote me up for it, and he made it sound like I had just like I broken one of the broken one of the Ten Commandments or something. Like, it was just weird. Like he dragged it out, and he was telling me, "Well, you're just like you're. It's really sad that we've come down to this, but I can't believe we have to do this to you, but we got to write you up." And he dragged it on for like 5 minutes. He was making me feel like crap, and I'm like, I really, really hate working in this place. And then all of a sudden, they would track everything. This place was incredible. I was always impressed with the fact that this place was always, always, always tracking everything. I mean, they knew exactly to the number, like to the down to the very simple numbers of, like if you had, if I received, like I was in receiving, so if I received like 2,000 boxes in one night, they would know exactly that number. And they tracked your numbers and they looked at you and said, well, your numbers are at 2,000. That's good. Or it needed to be a little bit more. I can remember getting, now my numbers were, oh man, they were at 97% of their expectation. And they pulled me aside and they said, you got to get your numbers up to 97%, or otherwise you're going to get fired. And I just couldn't handle that anymore. I simply was like, screw this place. I'm done with it. I'm going back to school. Now this is before network marketing. This is before, like, but it was leading up to this point. It was leading up and building me up to get like in this, like, I've got to work for myself mindset. So I get out there, and I just said to myself, like, all right, what can I do? What should I be doing? And I was talking to a guy who I actually was working with. He was in school for nursing, and he was going back to school for nursing, and he was doing all sorts of things. I was like, why'd you pick nursing? He's like, I don't know. I just picked it because it was just there. And I said, all right, I'm just going to go with nursing. So I just looked at that and I'm like, you know what? I went to high school, and in high school they taught me about electrical technology. And I said, I'm just going to go back to school for that. And I just picked electrical maintenance. So I signed up, I went back to school, and I was in electrical maintenance. And as I was there, I was learning about that trade, and I was working full time. So I was working full time and I was going to school full time. And I ended up graduating from that school with a electrical maintenance degree. So I went for 2 years, and I had plenty of experience to get me into a good job. Now, where this led me is to a job in working with water treatment plants. Now, this is actually where I discovered network marketing, because there was a particular, actually, no, 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 that's not how it is. This company actually started losing work, and then I moved on to another job. I moved on to another job, and it was paying me the absolute best money per hour I have ever made. I mean, I was literally making $27 an hour at that job. This job was like paying me like top-notch pay, and I could not believe I had gotten it. And I was really good at fixing stuff, and I was good at just like getting in there. I was showing up to work 10 minutes early. I was getting, my shift was 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. The benefits were really good. I mean, I was working like 40 hours a week, and I was bringing in a ton of money. And my wife started looking at me differently. She was bragging about me, and I was like super, like, I was looking forward to the direction that I was going in. The only issue that I had with that was that it was very toxic. It was a chemical environment. They had all sorts of nauseous fumes in there, but when you're making really good money and you need it, it's like you just don't care. You're out there, you're just putting yourself out there. So so I see more comments, in our little chat. That's awesome. So what ended up happening was, so here's what happens. I get into this company, and things just start to go a little bit sour. Like, I don't really connect with the people there, and I ended up pointing out a fire hazard to one of my bosses. I said, my supervisor. I only had one boss. So I pointed out to my supervisor, and I said to him, hey, I see this electrical fire hazard. And I had, actually, let me back up a little bit, because this is actually right before I found network marketing, and then I saw this problem, and then I'll tell you what happened after that. I never forgot what happened. So we were working on a problem on a machine that we were having some issues with it, and we always hired an outside contractor to come in and actually fix these machines. So what happened was, if I couldn't fix it, they needed somebody else to fix it. So they hired this guy. He came in. His name was Ed. I think his name was Ed. So Ed came in, and he always went in there, and he was just knocking out problems left and right. And I'm like, how do you know this stuff, man? Like, how do you get in this? He's like, I don't, I just figure it out. I understand the basics and all that. And then, he's like, you probably make good money here, and I was like, yeah, I do. But then here's where it got interesting. I just said to him, I was like, I just wish I could make some extra money on the side while I'm not here. I wish that I could just make like some extra money so I could put it away for like a down payment on a house. And that's when he kind of like put his hands on his hips and he was looking around. And then he put his hand in his pocket, pulled out his wallet. I'm actually friends with him on Facebook. I friend requested him like a couple months ago, and he actually received it. And what ended up happening is pulling out his wallet, and he hands me this card, his business card, and this business card was all about selling electricity as an affiliate marketer. And I'm looking at that, I'm like, selling electricity? How the how do you sell electricity? How do you do that? So he's like, the link on the description of the card will explain everything to you. Go ahead, go to the link, and just watch the presentation. And I said, I'm gonna go watch this. And it was really interesting because I'm an electrician. I understand electricity. I've been around it for 6 years. I've fixed a lot of electrical problems. And the fact that like I didn't understand the concept that you can actually sell electricity from another electrical source, it did not connect with me at all. I didn't understand it whatsoever. So what happens is that I get home, I go to the video, I watch it, and I watch the presentation, and then I'm like all excited about it. I'm like, yeah, and I'm thinking to myself that this is going to be free. It's going to be something I gotta like. Well, I gotta now. Here I am. I'm getting my taste of affiliate marketing, where it's like you can sell electricity and you can get paid commissions off of it. If somebody switches, and the whole basic gist of it is that, and I'm sure you can find this like anywhere, is that if you get somebody to switch their electrical provider and they sign up every month that they use electricity, you will get a commission every single month. So their electrical bill would be lower, right? And then you would get paid a commission for each month that that person decides to use that electricity. Of course, they're going to keep using it because their electric bill is lower. So you build up like this group of people who say, yeah, I want a lower electric bill. I'll take that. And you get paid commissions off that. That opened my eyes right there. And that was it for me. That was definitely the big aha moment of like, I can make money doing this. That's really cool. So what ended up happening was I I kept watching the video, kept watching the presentation, and then I saw at the end that they encouraged you to, okay, now it's time to take this seriously and buy training. And when I saw that, I didn't see the value of buying the training. I actually looked at that and I said, why do I need to buy training? Why do that? So I didn't end up joining that, but I kept thinking about it, and I was thinking about it. So just a couple, and this is where things got really interesting and messy. Is that I had got back to work, and I pointed out an electrical fire hazard to my boss, and I told him it was a glowing red ember on like at a distance, and I'm like, what in the world is that? That does not look like it was normal. It was actually a piece of chain that was hanging down, pressing up against a metal electrical pipe with all the wires inside of it. It had been sitting there for must have been decades. And the two metals were dissimilar, so they were eating away at each other, and then they got to the wires, and it was eating away at the wires, and then it just started, boom, it started to light up and glow because there's no way for it to short out. There was no ground wire or anything. It was just like bare metal, boom, and it was just glowing hot red. And that place was like ready to go up in flames as it was. It was everything just said, just please light me anywhere, and I'll burn this whole place down. So I went up there and I isolated the power. I figured out where it was, shut off the power, the little glowing ember went away, and then I locked it out. And so finally, what ended up happening was I told my boss, I told him exactly what I did. I told him, look, I'm going to take care of this issue right now, right away. 15 minutes goes by. He walks up to me. He's got an envelope. Again, I don't have an envelope on me, but like it was like a manila envelope, had all sorts of papers inside of it. He goes like this. He brings me over. Now I'm like, so okay, so I just follow my boss. I have no clue what's about to happen. Follow me. So we go into a room, and then there's human resources, there's the other electrician, and then there's my supervisor who just brought me in. Have a seat. Like, I'm already feeling nervous just listening to this. So I have a seat, and I'm sitting down, I'm looking at him, and then he says to me, we're letting you go for reasons that we're not willing to discuss. And I'm like, what? You're letting me go for no reason? That's right. I'm like, that's great. That is great. What am I supposed to tell my next employer? You know, although, no, actually, what I said to him was like, can you give me an example? Can you tell me what I did wrong? No. Just like that. No. Now I'm confused. Now I don't know what's going on. I'm totally upset. And I had been fired from multiple jobs before. And so now I'm thinking to myself, I'm all emotional. And I'm telling myself, I got to go home to my wife who's looking up to me, who's proud of me. I got to go tell her that I just got fired again. So what ends up happening was he says, well, we'll just call it um, unsatisfactory work performance. I was I was like, I'll see myself out then. I was like, let's get this over with. You know, I want to get out of here. So I get in the car. You know, it's cold. You know, it's just, you know, it was just one of those things. There was snow on the ground. It was ice everywhere. And I can remember taking the drive. The drive home just felt completely different. You know, I used to feel like I was really happy. You know, I'd look at the brick buildings and I was saying to myself, I was like, you know, this place just looks kind of neat. You know, they converted an old brick building into like apartments, an old mill. It looked really nice. And I was encouraging myself that I wanted everything that I saw to feel better as I was going in this direction. And then it turned a whole different thing. Everything looked ugly. Everything looked like miserable. You know, I was like, oh, you know, this looks terrible. Oh, these people, they don't dress well or something. I was just bitter the whole way. I was like, oh, look at that dump, you know, and it really was. It was actually a physical dump where they dumped all the trash and all that. So I get home and I park my car, I shut it off, and my heart just sinks. I don't want to tell my wife this information. I don't want to tell her this news. This is horrible news. I'm not proud of what's happening. I don't want to tell her these things. So what ends up happening is that I'm starting to walk upstairs. I feel the heaviness, like even just like telling the story, I feel the heaviness slightly. And I still keep going. I'm like going back into that. And it's a horrible feeling. So I feel the heaviness. I feel just the anxiety, and I get into there. I look for the key, I feel it, and I put it in, I turn it, and I push the door open. I could hear my wife vacuuming. So when I walked in, her back was turned to me. And it's like this, it was that moment. I was like, let's just get this over with. So I waved her down. She turned around and she says, "Why are you home so early?" And I said to her, "They let me go." That look that she gave me was not again. Like that look was just, it was gut wrenching. And now that I'm telling this story, I don't know why I remember this one point, but there was she was listening to a song. She had Pandora playing in the background, and she had some like music in the background that, and it was in that moment that that song. I don't. I remember this very clearly. The song actually went right into like a chorus or something, and it said everything, everything, everything is going to be all right. And it just kept repeating itself over and over and over again. Everything, everything, everything is going to be all right. Right when I walked in and I told her that, that's when that song started to that's when it started to go. It's really emotional just like saying those kind of things, because I heard it and I took it as like a real sign from God that yes, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. So what ends up happening, she breaks down naturally, and she's looking at me like I'm this loser who can't hold a job. And for the first 5 years of our marriage, that's who I was. I was that loser who could not hold a job. I had no vision. I had no mindset to keep a job. Nothing. I had no work ethic. Nothing. I was a loser. And she went through a lot of crap just getting past 5 years. I have really had to get my head straight on just to. I had to get fired so many times to realize I gotta change. So what ends up happening was I go out on my porch and I actually started to drink. I started drinking, and which is not the best thing to do when you have to figure out what you're going to do in a stressful situation. So um so I was sitting there and I was just angry. I can remember looking out at we were on the second floor, so we had a little porch. I was out there, the snow was on my porch, it was snow everywhere, but I didn't care. I had to sit somewhere and I had to think. So here I am, I'm looking out and I'm looking at all the trees, they're blowing in the wind, the cold air that I can't stand is blowing in my face. I'm sick of it all, I'm sick of everything. And then it just came flying out of my mouth. I will never work for an employer ever again. Someday. I will never work for an employer. I will figure out how to make money online. I had no clue what I was saying. I'm just gonna make money online. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I'm just gonna make money online. And then just madness took over me. And for months, I was on YouTube every single day watching how to make money online. And that was probably the first thing I typed in, how to make money online. And that's when I started watching. I watched tons of videos, and I'm telling you, like, it was so confusing at first. Like they were saying stuff like affiliate marketing and lead generation and everything. It was all going like way over me, but I didn't care. All I wanted to know was like how, what's the steps, what's the process, what do I got to do to make any kind of money on the internet. So what ends up happening was uh, I come across this one YouTube video where this guy has just amazing videos where he just was able to explain affiliate marketing, and he was in the same situation. He was in a dead end job. He hated his job and all that. And I think since that guy's either he's in jail or he passed away because he was a stoner, and he was explaining how he was able to make money, with his the substances that he was using. And I was looking at this going like the kid's making sense. And then he started talking about Amazon and how he made an Amazon affiliate niche sites. And he had a course that he had built, and he put it out there, and the course never got finished. And time went on and years have gone by, and people are always wondering like, hey, where'd this guy go? And some people say he's either arrested or he passed away from like a drug overdose or something. So it's really sad. But it was that kid that really just got me to thinking correctly as to like, okay, this is how you make money online. You sell other people's stuff, and when a person buys it, you get paid commissions. Now, my first commission ever, I had gone to clickbank.com and I found a product that I actually really, really liked. I admired, and it was a product that was called Ted's Woodworking Packages. Ted's Woodworking Plans. Now, Woodworking Plans was like 16,000 woodworking plans for 67 bucks. And if the person buys it, you get 45 bucks out of all that. And I was like, holy cow, that's amazing. If I just sell 10 of these a month, then I'll be making really good money just like doing this sort of stuff. And that's all I cared about. That's like, how do I get this? How do I do this? So what ends up happening is I'm watching every video out there on how to get people to buy my stuff. I went, oh man, and then I discovered paid advertising, and that was actually how I got my first commission. But it was in a way that there literally was no landing page whatsoever. It didn't go to you have traffic that you bring to a page where you encourage people to put their information. There's all sorts of valuable information saying this is what you're going to get. Put your name and email, and then get access to a video or something. Get access to free stuff. I didn't do that. I skipped right over to the sales video right after that. And some of you know what I'm talking about. You're rolling in your PJs just like watching this. Some of you know what I'm talking about here. So and I know some of you are in your PJs right now. So what ends up happening was I actually set it up. I put the link in there, and I put it out there. I forget I think I forget the advertising platform that I was using, but I put it out there. It was 7Search. That was it. 7Search advertising, and I put it out there, and I targeted, people who want to get woodworking plans. And then, I put, you're not supposed to do this. You take the sales video and you put it in after like a welcome page, like welcome to this website. Would you like some more information about woodworking plans? I didn't do that. I put people straight to the hello, you're going to get sales from this. You're going to get woodworking plans, whether you want to or not. And so what ends up happening was that I set it up, I get it going, and then I get people to visit it. And then like an hour later, I checked the ClickBank website. I actually got a commission off of that, and I got 45 bucks off that. Now, granted, I had spent by this time I had already spent too much money on advertising, but I got the commission, and I looked at it, and I didn't know any better. I didn't know anything, and I actually called my mom and I said, "Did you just buy these woodworking plans from me?" And she's like, "Yeah," because I'm thinking like my mom already knew all about this, and she's like super supportive, and go mom. And she's been the strongest support out of anybody who's been in all this, and it's been a real boost. So she's like, no, I didn't buy any woodworking plans. I was like, then I got my first commission. I actually made my very first commission on the internet. And she's like, "Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool." And she's all celebrating and happy. She's like, "You go, you got this, God is with you," and all that. And I had so much to learn after that. So that's when things just like, okay, I got to get into this like lightning mode. I got to really figure this stuff out because I'm spending money, I'm losing money. I got a commission, but I'm just not getting into it. And what ends up happening was I'm looking for. Oh yeah, I got it right here. Okay, so I ended up putting so much more time and effort, and I'm getting into all this. I'm getting into this like so much more, and finally, I get enough ClickBank commissions to where I was able to get my very first check. Now, this check is it's for 63 bucks and 49 cents, and this ClickBank check is sitting on my desk every single day. And as I'm looking at it, what does it say? Do better than this. I see it every day. Do better than this. Just do better than this. And to hit $1 million by wow, to hit $1 million by not this June but next June. So I got a lot of work to do. So that's sitting in front of me. I'm looking at it every day, and it's totally possible. You can absolutely hit that. So what ends up happening is that I see this check and I'm like, okay, what do I gotta do to make more money? What do I have to do? So I keep searching on the internet, I keep going, I keep pushing, and the reason why is because I just got so sick and tired of being fired, and I was fired without a reason. So I was in this like flaming ignorant mode of just like I've got to figure this thing out. So what ends up happening, I got into a company that where it's really interesting because I connected with the story of a man who, man, like he was a pastor, Christian, who was a severe drug addict, and he was living under a bridge. The guy's story was just like so inspiring to me. I was sucked into it. I could not get over it. I was like, I just listened to the whole thing. And he said that he got out, he got clean, and he started helping people. He started a church, and then he's like, I'm able to provide for my family. We were able to pay our bills, but he's like, I really want to help people and like who are just like in this drug addict problem, but we need more money to do that. So he found a company that I ended up joining. Like I joined when I saw that, and I said, "This is legit. It's totally legit." And all the guy did was share his story, and he was so real with it. And that's what you got to do. You got to be completely authentic with people and share your story. You can't be so uptight and be so monotone and talking like this forever, and then you're laughing like ha ha ha. You can't be some robot, you know? You got to be yourself, you got to be legit, and you got to stick with it. So, so what ends up happening is that I ended up listening to a they had wake up calls on this company. It was called Empower Network. So Empower Network had this Empower Hour where you would listen in on people who got in the company, they had success, they're sharing the story. I'm listening to this guy, this crazy guy who was a retired cop. Some of you know who he is. His name is Pat Patterson. So I'm listening to Pat Patterson and I'm listening to his story, and I'm just so intrigued by it. The guy was injured on duty. The guy was narrowly killed on in the line of duty. And I listened to how he survived and how his boss was able to tell him, on his boss, his somebody who told him, "Hey, you're his doctor." He said, you can't go back to work. You can't. You've got to get another job. You have got to get, you've got to figure it out." Yeah, he was so injured on duty. So what ends up happening was he just went balls to the walls and figured out how to make money on the internet and was able to get, a substantial amount of money. And then he started his own hangout, just like the one that you're watching right now. So I started following his hangout. Like I learned that he had a hangout on through the Empower Hour wake up call. So I found his I found his thing and I just started listening. And what ended up happening was I saw I saw Pat Patterson, I saw Dave Rainica, and I saw every single person on this team. And I was just so amazed that these people had they had had success. So here I am, I'm still looking to get into like network marketing. I'm still struggling. I'm still trying to figure it all out. And I just start watching these people. I just start watching their success. I just start listening to their story. And so what ends up happening was I started to see that Empower Network was going under. They were showing signs that they weren't going to survive as a company. And so I friend requested all the people from this panel from Empower Network and multiple other people from Empower Network because I wanted to stay connected with them and to see what they were doing, where they were going. And what ends up happening was I was trying to reach out to Pat Patterson and he was not responding whatsoever. And what ends up happening is there was another guy on there who is probably watching right now. What ends up happening was I ended up sending a message to this guy. His name is Dave. And Dave was like the one dude where I probably wouldn't join him like on first glance. Like he to me looked like he was like ready. He just looked like he wanted to like beat me up. I like looked at that guy and I was like, "Well, I don't want to hang out with that guy." So, but I ended up friend requesting him, and then I was like, "Hey, did you go and join My Lead System Pro? Did you end up going with that company?" And he says, "Yeah, everybody." They, I was like, "This is because the Power Network commissions went south." And so he's like, "Yeah, yeah, the commissions just like they changed their plan, and we all decided to go over." What ends up happening is like he says we start chatting, and but the first thing I said to him was like, "Hey, I'm a spammer, and I'm looking for innocent civilians to take advantage of them. You don't look like one, and I'm trying to figure out how to take advantage of you." So he thought that was really funny. And so he's like, "You should totally brand yourself." And I could not understand. I didn't understand what that meant at the time. And that took some time for me to understand. But what ends up happening was he he's like, "You want to chat?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "A video chat." "Did you want to do a video chat with me?" So then he sends the link, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm thinking to myself, if I click that link, I'm gonna see him. I'm nervous. He's gonna like reach through the screen and then grab me, hurt me. I don't know. Okay, let's just try that. So I click on the link. Sure enough, there he is. And he's like, "Hey buddy, what's up?" And I was like, "You're really here." I was like, you're really there. You're really talking with me. And so we just talked for maybe 5, 10 minutes, whatever. And I was like, "Dave, just send me a link. Just send me a link to join." And that's how I joined. Now, what ends up happening was I still continued to struggle. I continued to struggle, and then I started to learn the value of buying training. And when I was buying training, I actually started to see the value of it. I really connected with like, okay, this is why people pay all this money for this training because it tells you exactly what you need to do. It lays it all out step by step. These people will know exactly what you need, how to get going, what you need to do. So what ends up happening is that I just start getting really into the training. I just kept going with My Late System Pro, studying, watching training, listening to wake up calls, watching webinars, taking lots of notes. I actually just filled up my notebook from when I first got started. I literally just filled it up. And to close this out, I ended up meeting this is the value of like studying. Like when you really study and you over prepare yourself for like training, what you got to do is you have to just learn a skill, learn one skill, and just go with it. So I just studied this stuff and I studied why, people buy and what network marketing is and how to get people to join, how to build teams. And I said to myself, I was like, you know what? I'm not feeling well today. Just not feeling well today. I was like, I know exactly what I need. There's a delicious bone broth that is going to be really, really good. And if you don't know what a bone broth is, it's something where people put a bunch of bones in from animals like cows, and they will they'll boil them up, and then they'll make it into like a stew, and then they'll make it into just like a hot tea, like a drink, and you drink that. It is like instant medicine. It is so good for you. It is out of this world. Fire and kettle bone broth. That is amazing. So like I go and I look for it. And I know that like if I really, really want something, I'm not gonna quit until I find it. So I just look. I go to well, actually I go on my phone and I'm like, okay, health food stores near me. And Google's like, zero point 0.1 miles over, and I'm looking at the map, it's drawing like a virtually like a line from here to there. And there it was, a health food store. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I'm like, okay. So I go straight inside. I go right in there. Now here I am. I came out of my work, so I have my navy blue uniform. I'm covered in like this like dark, like sprinkled with like this dark colored ink on me. I look like I'm here to rob the place, and I got my hat on. I got my big jacket on, and I'm here for a bone broth. You got any? And she's like, no, I don't have any bone broth. I was like, you got any supplements like fish oil? She's like, yeah, I got fish oil. I was like, what about give me a second? And I thought about it, and like, do you got any? And I was telling her some other supplements, and she's like, yeah, I got them. Like, okay, go get them. So she went, she went, so she got them, and then I was about to pay for it, as I pulled out my, bloody dollar bills. So I pull them all out, and this guy was next to me, and he was actually venting out some frustration to the customer. And what ends up happening was he actually started to say things that every mentor in network marketing and affiliate marketing is dying to hear. He was venting out frustration. He's like, I just am looking for, he's like, for like the past 6 months, I've just been trying to figure out how to make money elsewhere, make money on the internet. And he's like, but nobody's showing me what to do. And I'm like, I'm like, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to say anything. I'm just listening for a sec. I just listen. So what ends up happening is he keeps going on. It's like, I'm lost, I'm confused. And if somebody were to just show me what to do, then I would just do it. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me here. I'm like, out of all things, this is amazing. So then I asked him a question. I start to validate whether or not he really is serious about this. So I was like, okay, so let me ask you a question. Why do you really want to do this? And he's like, I just want to make money on the internet. And I was like, no, no, no. Like, let's go deeper. Why do you want to do this? He's like, I hate my job. I really do. There's aluminum dust everywhere. I was like, well, what do you do? He's like, I'm a mechanic. And he's like, I fix cars. I was like, well, that's cool. I'm an electrical maintenance technician, so I fix electrical stuff. I fix electrical problems. We have a very similar background, and and we take things apart. We find the problem, we put it all back together again. And so, um, so what ends up happening is that he goes into it, and I was like, just tell me more. Tell me, what have you been trying to do? He's like, well, there was this, there was this meeting that I was going to go to, and I'm like, oh my god, he was about to go to a meeting. That's so funny. Because he's like, yeah, there was a meeting with this guy that I literally was on. He was trying to call him. He was trying to get in touch with him. He was trying to figure out where this meeting actually was going to take place. So he could not get a hold of him. He called, he called, he called. The guy did not answer. He didn't respond. Nothing. So he came in here and he was frustrated. He was aggravated. It was about selling knives. I'm sure what that's all about. And but anyway, what ends up happening was I said, look, I was like, you seem serious, like you really want to do this. He said, yeah, I really want to do this. And I said to him, I looked, I paused. I'm looking for students. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I teach people from the ground up on how to get started, on how to start thinking correctly. I've made a lot of mistakes over the last 3 years. I know what you should not do, and I know what you need to do in order to get results, get started. And he's like, oh man, I'm ready. And I'm looking at him like, I was like, yeah, we'll see. So we start going because I've had people say that before. They're like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do this. And they don't follow up. So I tell them, I was like, all right, so give me your number and I'll call you. I have to go find this bone broth because I'm not feeling well. I want to find it. So he's like, okay, man. And I tell him, look, it's going to be about 45 minutes to an hour before I can call you tonight. And I was like, but you want to get started tonight? He says, yes, I want to get started tonight. So I was like, okay, I'm going to call you. So I shake his hand. His name was Tom. And I take his phone number, I stick it in my pocket. And then I look for my bone broth at the grocery store, and I was like, man, is this guy really going to like take this seriously? I don't know. Is he going to be like somebody else? I don't know. But I told him I was going to call him, so we'll figure it out. So I get in the car, I drive home, and I go in my pocket, and his phone number is missing. So I'm like, check the back pockets, must be in the coat pocket. Took all the coat pockets, nothing. It was snowing outside. So again, snow and all the weather here, done with it. So I go outside and I'm looking around. I'm looking in the snow and I'm like, by now all the snow has covered covered it because I had been inside for a few minutes and I'm like, this is ridiculous. So then I come back inside and I was like, all those circumstances were in place and there's no possible way that it was just not going to happen. I'm supposed to work with this guy. And so I just simply prayed. I was like, God, where is his phone number? Like, he went out to Chipotle, checked the bag. And I'm like, I threw the bag out. So I get out and I go to, where the garbage is. I find the Chipotle bag. I open it up. There it was. His phone number was in the Chipotle bag. They pull it out. It's got salsa all over it. And I'm like, I don't care. So I pick it up. I dial his phone. I call him up. And then I said to him, I was like, look, he sounded really serious. And here's the deal. I could send you a video presentation, but it sounds like you're ready to get started now. And he says, what's in the video presentation? I was like, everything I explained to you you could watch it and then you could join, but it sounds like you're ready to get started just right now." He's like, "Just send me the link now, and I'll join." So here I am. I send him the link via Facebook Messenger. And by the way, like I said to him, I was like, can you just like put in Facebook Messenger, yeah, man, send me the link. That way it doesn't look fishy because we had no conversation whatsoever on Facebook. So I wanted Facebook to realize that like, hey, he's asking for the link. And I'm not just sending him a link. I don't want to get like tagged as like a spammer or something. So he's like, yeah, man, send the link. So he put that in Facebook Messenger. I was like, okay, I'm going to send it. Here's the link to join. I put some instructions in it. And then I get a text message from My Elite System Pro. You just made an MLSP commission. And I looked at that and I said, this is where it begins, man. This is how I had no credibility as to, like, hey, I've made lots of money, I've made all sorts of wonderful success. I'm jumping off cliffs, backflipping, diving into the water with all the colorful fish. And I got a beautiful wife right here. There's happy kids swimming all along with us and everything. That's not my story. My story is like I had an angry wife who was just like ready to kill me if I kept pursuing this thing. I had nobody supporting me on like half of my family, and everybody's calling me names. They're all calling me losers and this and that. And you'll never make it. You'll never be able to succeed. And and I got a team member just like that. And it was because I learned a skill. I learned something that somebody else did not know and was ready to pay money to buy it. I learned that skill based on the teachings inside of our workshop, the Workshop Warrior Institute. Some of you are watching this right now. You guys are so awesome, so supportive. Appreciate all of you. By my mentor, Dave, Katie, Jamie, everybody else. They're all there to support me, and they've been nothing but just a huge benefit. So what ends up happening is that I work with the guy, and I just start to pour out all the knowledge that I knew, and I just kept taking notes on what he's really interested in, and I was helping him get his blog set up, and I was spending a good hour every night with this guy until the 10-day trial like was about to come up, and I'm like, now Tom, if you decide to continue with me, then you're gonna end up paying the full price for your benefits, or for your business. And he's like, yeah, I see the price that it's gonna cost me, and I just don't. Sometimes I feel like I can't do this, and I was like, well, and then I remember the training that like Ray Higdon had given, and he was talking about how to close people. And he's like, I don't like, I think I can do this, but then, I'm wondering, can I really do it? And I remember, and this is exactly what Ray says, and it came to me, the training that I bought, it came right back to me on how to close. And he's like, when people say exactly what you just said, they typically join. And those words are like borderline hypnotic when people say it. When people say exactly what you just said, they typically join. When people say exactly what you just said, they typically join. And the words that end in ly are like borderline hypnotic. People are they're very persuasive. And he says, all right, man, I'm going to keep working with you. So he signs up, and then I get, I got a team member on there. So what ends up happening is that I just keep pouring out the knowledge. I keep figuring out what he wants, what he's looking for, and I just keep throwing down the knowledge. And pretty soon, he's going to end up having his own commissions. He's going to get his first commission. He's going to get his first check in the mail, and he's going to feel that this is real, and he's just going to be on fire. And Tom, you're awesome if you're watching this. And I totally believe in you, man. You're going to be a total rock star. So that's my story on how I got started in network marketing. This is Rocket Rick, and what you see right on I think it's on this side or this side, somewhere on this page where you can see the training that I bought that is very, very valuable on how to learn how to communicate with customers, communicate with your prospects, communicate with people to persuade them and have them buy your products. It's on there somewhere. It's copywriting mastery. And then there's advertisement training. You want to go ahead and buy both of them. And if you're ready to join, that's for your business, that's for your opportunity. If you're ready, if you're looking for a system where you can get into the community, the training is, and you're looking for a mentor and you want to work personally with me, go ahead and click on the button below that says, yes, let me in. And we will get started. There's a presentation and you just gotta go ahead and watch it. And we will start working right away. So again, my name is Rocket Rick, and this is my very first webinar going down in the history books. I'm out of here. See you later. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.